Hi everyone, welcome to another lesson of Russian with Fion. I'm Fion and today we're going to be taking a look at nouns. So in my introduction to Russian, which was the first video I uploaded, we had a quick look at nouns and adjectives in the nominative case. The nominative case is the base form of adjectives and nouns. It's the form that you'll see if you look them up in a dictionary, and it's generally the first case that you learn when you're learning Russian. The nominative is used to refer to the subject of a sentence. So for example, the girl goes to the park. The girl is going to be the subject of the sentence because she's carrying out the verb. I'm eating dinner. I am going to be the subject of the sentence because I'm carrying out the verb. Okay, but today we're going to look at the accusative case. And we'll go into some more detail about what that is and what that means. But first, we're just going to have a quick revision of the previous lesson that I uploaded. So in my last lesson, we had a look at how to conjugate verbs. If you haven't looked at that lesson, I would recommend that you go there now before continuing on with this lesson, just so that you're up to date with all of the vocabulary and grammar structures that we're going to be using. So I'll just read through this list quickly, and if you don't remember how to conjugate them, then maybe just have a quick revision of that previous lesson so that you can learn and get the most out of this lesson today. So we've got znать, to know, понимать, понять, to understand, работать, поработать, to work, вспоминать, вспомнить, to remember, говорить, сказать, to say, любить, полюбить, to love, and ходить. All right, let's move on. So just a couple of points that I wanted to bring up first. In Russian, there is no definite or indefinite article. That means that the words for the and a just don't exist. So the house and a house, it's going to be the same. There's no distinction. This can be a bit confusing for English speakers at first, but the context usually does make it evident whether it's a or the. So that's just one thing to be aware of when we're learning nouns. Secondly, we're just a quick overview of what we're going to do in the lesson today. We're going to have a look at the gender of nouns, because in Russian there are three genders. There's masculine, feminine, and neuter. Then we're going to take a look at the accusative case, what it is, how it's used, and how to put masculine, feminine, and neuter nouns into the accusative. Okay. Before we begin, let's take a closer look at what the accusative case is. The accusative denotes the object of a verb. In English, a simple sentence structure will be subject, verb, object. The subject is the person or thing carrying out the verb, and the object will come after the verb, and it's the thing having something done to it. For example, the woman sees the building. The woman is carrying out the action of seeing, and the building is the thing being seen. He puts on his coat. He is carrying out the action of putting on something, and his coat is the something being put on, and so on and so forth. So these words underlined and in red are in the accusative case because they're the objects of the sentence. In English, we use word order to denote the object and subject of sentences, but in Russian, it's going to be the words themselves which change. This will become more clear as you learn more of the cases and more Russian. For now, let's move on. As I'm sure you're aware, there are three genders of nouns in Russian: masculine, feminine, and neuter. The declension of nouns, i.e. how they change in each case, differs for each gender. What we're going to do today is we're going to look at masculine, feminine, and neuter nouns and how they change into the accusative case. And we're also going to take a look at how you can identify whether a noun is masculine, feminine, or neuter. How can you tell if a noun in Russian is masculine? Most masculine nouns end in a hard consonant, such as brat, meaning brother, and magazin, meaning shop. A lot of nouns ending in i kratkaya are also masculine. For example, muzей, meaning museum. There are some masculine nouns which are referred to as natural masculine nouns. These include mужчина, man, and papa, dad. As a lot of these nouns will end in a or ya, they decline like feminine nouns. Finally, some masculine nouns end with a soft sign, such as учитель, meaning teacher, январь, fevral, and other months of the year ending with a soft sign, and kalendar, kalendar, meaning calendar. Now we're going to look at how to decline masculine nouns into the accusative case. You can see here that there are two separate tables for the declension of masculine nouns. The first shows the declension of magazine. As you can see, it doesn't change when it's put into the accusative case. This is generally going to be the case, except for one exception which we're going to discuss at the end of this lesson. Now in the second table, you'll notice that the nouns have soft endings. So kalendar ends in a soft sign and muzej ends with an I kratkaya, which is a soft ending. The only difference between the declension of magazine and these nouns is that they have softer endings in the plurals. So instead of it being kalendar u, which would be more difficult to say, or muzej u, which is also again difficult, the endings are instead softer. They use the E instead of the U. So it's kalendari and muzei. Kalendar, kalendari. Muzei, muzei. And on the left, you'll see a number of sentences which show the masculine nouns in the accusative case. Я хожу в магазины. I am going to the shops, or I am walking to the shops. Ты видишь мужчину? Do you see the man? Now you'll notice that this is quite different from the regular masculine noun declension, and that's because, as I mentioned earlier, it's what we refer to as a natural masculine noun, and it declines like a feminine noun because it ends with an A. But we're going to see that a bit later on. Thirdly, я люблю музей. I love the museum. Or in the plural, я люблю музеи. Fourth, я смотрю на календарь. I look at the calendar. How can you tell if a noun in Russian is feminine? Most feminine nouns end in an a or a ya, such as kniga, meaning book, and voda, meaning water. Many feminine nouns also end in a soft sign, such as dver, meaning door, and lyubov, meaning love. There are also some nouns which are referred to as natural feminine nouns. These include Deutsch, meaning daughter, and mать, meaning mother. So lastly, we have suffixes. A suffix is just the ending of a word. So there are certain suffixes which can distinguish whether a word is male, whether it refers to a male figure or a female figure. Here we have a list of examples. So we have armianin and armianka. So that nin is a common ending for a male representative of a nationality. Armianin is an Armenian man. The ka is another common suffix representing the female of a nationality. So armianka is an Armenian woman. Then we have poet for male poet and poetiesa for female poet. Uchenik for male pupil and uchenitsa for female pupil. Uchitel for a male teacher and uchitelnitsa for a female teacher. Just a quick note here, as with Romance languages, if you want to refer to a group of mixed gender individuals, so a group of male and female students or male and female teachers, then you'll use the plural form of the male noun, the masculine noun. Okay. Here we have two tables showing the declension of feminine nouns. The first is the regular declension of a feminine noun. The second shows the declension of a feminine noun which has a soft sign ending. As you can see, the noun which has a soft sign ending does not change when it is put into the accusative case. The only difference is that there is a softer ending in the plural, which is the same as the masculine noun when it goes into the plural. So instead of ui, we have I. Dver, dveri. So let's take a look at the regular feminine noun declension of gazeta. Now, as you can see in the plural, it does stay the same, just like with the masculine noun. However, in the singular form, the a changes to u, so gazeta changes to gazetu. Here I have some more examples of feminine nouns being put into the accusative case. On ljubit Anu. On ljubit Anu. Мы читаем газету. Вы вспоминаете девочку? Мать любит дочь. So to put regular feminine nouns into the accusative case, simply remove the a and add an u. Usually if the noun ends with ya, then it changes to a u instead, but we'll look at that a bit later on. Finally, we have neuter nouns. How can you tell if a noun in Russian is neuter? Most neuter nouns in Russian end in o, yo, or ye, such as общество, meaning society, жилье, meaning housing, and море, meaning sea. There are also a few neuter nouns in Russian which have the ending mya, such as время, time, and имя, first name. Let's take a look at how to decline neuter nouns into the accusative case. Here we have two tables, one showing the regular declension of neuter nouns and one showing the declension of neuter nouns which end in mya. As you can see, there's no difference between the nominative cases and the accusative cases. However, in the table with время, you can see that the plural is quite different. Время changes to времена. This is common with neuter nouns ending in mya. So имя changes to имена, имена. Here we have a few example sentences of neuter nouns in the accusative case. Я не понимаю общества. Я хожу в здание. Девочка видит место. Я знаю его имя. Here are all of the nouns that we've learned so far. Брат, магазин, музей, мужчина, папа, учитель, календарь, январь, февраль, армянин, поэт, ученик, учитель, время, общество, жилье, море, имя, армянка, поэтесса, ученица, учительница, книга, вода, любовь, дочь, мать, and газета. Now it's time for you to practice identifying the gender of nouns in Russian. See if you can do this task without going back to the previous slides. You can pause your video now, and I'm going to reveal the correct answers in 3, 2, 1. So well done if you got those right. Let's move on to your next task. Here are just a few really useful phrases in Russian for you to keep building up that vocabulary. We have у меня есть, I have. Есть is not always included in this phrase. It's usually included if you're referring to a physical object. У меня есть. Я хочу. Я хочу. Kind of like you're sneezing. Я хочу. I want. Каждый день. Каждый день. Every day. Всё. Всё. This means everything or all. You can say it at the end of a sentence to mean that's all or you've finished speaking. Ну, всё. Это. Это. This or this is. This is a really common word in Russian, and you can use it to sort of introduce your sentence. So, это факт, that's a fact, or this is a fact. Это машина, this is a car. Это здание, this is a building, and so on and so forth. Now we're going to practice translating these sentences with the accusative case. So if you want to pause the video and write out your answers, I'm going to begin revealing the correct answers now. They love the book. Они любят книгу. Они любят книгу. I want to see the sea. Я хочу. Either увидеть or видеть море is fine at this point. She reads the newspaper every day. Она читает газету каждый день. I want water. Я хочу воду. Я хочу воду. He doesn't understand the teacher. He doesn't understand the teacher. Он не понимает учительницу. Он не понимает учительницу. Dad loves the sea. Папа любит море. Папа любит море. Mother remembers the poet. Мать вспоминает поэтессу. Мать вспоминает поэтессу. I want to walk to the museum. Я хочу ходить в музей. Я хочу ходить в музей. The topic of animacy is one that I'm going to cover in greater depth in my lesson on the genitive case. For now, I just wanted to briefly introduce you to it. So an animate noun is one which refers to a living being, such as a human or an animal, with a few exceptions. As you can see, I've broken them into two boxes, masculine nouns and feminine nouns. This is just because they don't follow the same patterns when declining into the accusative. So masculine nouns take genitive endings in both the singular and the plural. Он любит брата, he loves his brother, and я знаю поэтов, I know the poets. You would think that it should be он любит брат and я знаю поэты. But because these are animate nouns, they instead have genitive endings. Again, we're going to cover this in much more depth in the lesson on the genitive case. Feminine nouns, which are animate, take the genitive endings only in the plural form. So учитель понимает учениц. The teacher, the male teacher, understands the female students. Мы любим учительниц. We love the teachers. And in the singular, animate feminine nouns decline regularly, so the A will still go to the U. Finally, I also wanted to briefly introduce you to personal pronouns. We came across these when we were learning how to conjugate verbs. We learned я, ты, он, она, оно, мы, вы, and они. These are personal pronouns in the nominative case, but if you want to put them into the accusative case, then they decline in the following way. Меня, тебя, его, ее, нас, вас, and ich. So these forms will be seen if these pronouns are in the accusative. We have some example sentences here. Я тебя говорю, or я говорю тебя. As I mentioned, word order isn't as important in Russian, and you can change it around because the form of the word tells you the meaning. Я тебя говорю. You can see that тебя is in the accusative case, therefore it's I'm telling you, because я is the subject and therefore it's in the nominative case. Вы is in the nominative case, therefore it's the subject. Вы понимаете его. Вы понимаете его. Do you understand him? Его is in the accusative case, and therefore it is the object of the sentence. Она знает их. She knows them. Она знает их. Мы вспоминаем ее. Мы вспоминаем ее. Here's a quick translation task for you to do to practice putting those personal pronouns into the accusative case. So please feel free to pause the video, write out your answers. I'm going to begin revealing the correct answers now. Maybe I know him. Может быть, я знаю его. Or, может быть, я его знаю. We love them. Мы любим их. Or, мы их любим. I want to love you. Not words you want to hear exactly. Я хочу любить тебя. Я хочу любить тебя. Or, я хочу тебя любить. Я хочу тебя любить. The girl does not remember us. Девочка не вспоминает нас. Девочка не вспоминает нас. Does she not see me? Она не видит меня. Она не видит меня. Она не видит меня. So well done if you've got any of those right. Here is just a quick overview of what we've gone through today. So today we learned that the accusative case is used when a word is the object of a sentence. We learned that neuter nouns stay the same in the accusative. We learned that masculine nouns generally stay the same in the accusative with a few exceptions. So natural masculine nouns ending in "a" decline like feminine nouns. Masculine nouns ending with a soft sign or an "i" kratkaya don't change in the accusative, but they have soft endings in the plural. And animate masculine nouns use genitive endings in the accusative, both in the singular and the plural forms. We also learned that feminine nouns change from "a" to "u" in the accusative, in the singular form, but not in the plural. The plural is the same. We also learned that feminine nouns which end in a soft sign stay the same. And we learned that feminine animate nouns have genitive endings in the plural, but we're going to discuss that at greater length in another lesson, so don't worry too much about that right now. Finally, we learned the declension of personal pronouns into the accusative case. Я goes to меня, ты to тебе, он to его, она to ее. Sorry, он and оно goes to его, она to ее, мы to нас, вы, вас, они, ich. If you feel like practicing what we've gone through today, here is some homework that you might find useful. First, practice declining nouns into the accusative case. You can start with this list of nouns on the right and decline them into the singular and plural forms. Secondly, it would be really useful for you to memorize the table of personal pronouns and practice making sentences with them in the accusative case. So that's the end of the lesson for today. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to leave a comment and I'll get right back to you. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye from me.